Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again for being here. Please, we're going to be pretty informal here this afternoon. If you're thirsty or hungry, I think we got plenty of food. We got plenty of stuff to drink. Please help yourself. But we're going to do a little bit of a program here for just a minute. Again, I thank you for being here, and I want to thank, we've got folks who come from right here close. We've got folks from Indianapolis. We've got folks from Central and Western Kentucky. And I guess if this were a high school reunion, we might have to give maybe one award for the farthest travel. Our grandmother, Pat Miller, and Aunt Marinelle have come from Phoenix, and so we appreciate that very much. I should tell you, we have no door prizes. So maybe you can make a plate and take home. But I guess the other thing, if I had a second prize to give, I might give grandmother the least changed prize, too, for the award. But this isn't a high school reunion. It's actually a very special occasion for another reason. Now, I wanted to just start off by seeing if this maybe brings back some memories for a few of you. We are gathered here today to join Donna Faye Weber and Ronald Eugene Miller in holy matrimony. If anyone here assembled has a reason they should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace. Good. Many of you were in the First Methodist Church in Petersburg, Indiana, 50 years ago yesterday, when Faye and Ron both said, "I do." So you can attest that no one raised any objections that day to stand in the way of them beginning their journey through life together. And what a journey it has been. They had dated at Petersburg High School, where they met, and 3 years after high school, Ron was working on his engineering degree at the University of Evansville. Faye had just completed her nursing studies at both Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis and Vincennes University. And I mean just finished. Her last class was Wednesday, 3 days before the wedding. I guess she was probably too busy to watch American Bandstand that night, which is too bad because I checked and the Everly Brothers were on that night with Dick Clark. Of course, it was a beautiful wedding, and many of you were there and remember that. Mildred Martin, my Aunt Sissy, made both the silk wedding dress that Faye wore and the dress that Jan Wilson wore, the flower girl, and you can see a picture of that over here on this table. Harry and Maud Weber thought their youngest daughter made a fine choice when agreeing to marry the oldest son of Elvis and Pat Miller. Later that evening, the reception was at the Weber's house, with wonderful food spread out on a table that our family still eats on today. The lace table, we washed it. I know I heard laughing in the back of the room. We cleaned it up. The lace tablecloth used on the cake table that day for the reception is here today for our cake today, and has been used in several other family weddings and receptions since then. Well, it's official. That was the champagne. We're not under fire. It's okay. It said to read the instructions, and next time we'll do that. All right, the subject is 1957. Let me refresh your memory about the big news of that year besides this wedding we're talking about. Dwight Eisenhower was inaugurated for a second term as president. The Russians had launched the Sputnik rocket. Dr. Seuss had published The Cat in the Hat. In sports, the Detroit Lions were the champions of pro football. The Super Bowl didn't exist yet. Sam Haines won the Indy 500, and I put this in for you Indianapolis folks, averaging a blistering 135 miles an hour. And Ted Williams was the highest paid player in baseball in 1957, making $100,000 a year. On TV, folks were watching The Danny Thomas Show and You Bet Your Life with Groucho Marx. In the movie theaters, The Bridge on the River Kwai had won the best Oscar that year. The average cost of a house in 1957 was a little more than $12,000. And a new car was only about $2,000. But you only made about $5,000, so I guess that all worked out. You could go to a movie for $1. You could go to Harvard University for just $1,000. 1957, what a year that was. But time marched on. After the wedding, their first apartment in Evansville led to the first house on Taylor Street. Ron was splitting time between college courses and co-op work at Whirlpool. Faye worked at the state hospital. In 1958, I came along. 1959 brought graduation from the University of Evansville, and in the fall, my brother Dan. Now, he came in 1959. He has yet to come today, but he's on his way. When Ron accepted a position with Norge, our family of 4 then moved to Muskegon, in Michigan, in 1960, and on to Fort Smith, Arkansas in 1961. While living in Arkansas, our sisters Susan and Lori were born, making our family complete, at least for a time. The family moved to Louisville 7 years later in 1968. Ron began working for GE. A year after that, we would move into the house on Idlewood Lane in Fern Creek, which would remain our family home until after Lori, our youngest sister, graduated from college more than 20 years later. Now, as you look around the room at my siblings and me today, and I've already heard a little bit of this today, you see the many physical characteristics and mannerisms that we inherited from either the Miller side of the family or the Weber side of the family. And we're very proud of that heritage. However, the most striking resemblance, I think, amongst all of us you will see is really something we can't see at all. It's our core values, which we learn throughout our lives and as a result of this long-standing union of our parents, Ron and Faye Miller. One, the importance of education was taught to us by example, and we never questioned. In our family, it would be hard to find someone without a college degree or two. I mentioned my brother Dan. He works for a college just like I do, and that's where he is. He's in a meeting with the president today. Some important work being done there for education. In our family, it was never a question of if you go to college or if you will, but just where. Our parents didn't have to make us go to college. We had an interest in higher education, much like other kids have an interest in driving a car. But at least the boys, we like driving cars too, though, I should say. And yet, we never took this opportunity for granted. We understood the sacrifice that our parents made to send 4 kids to college and to continue to support us in many ways after college, into graduate school, into jobs and marriage, and now our own families. This value has been passed on to our children as we watch my oldest daughter, Courtney, the first of 7 grandchildren, who will go to college for the first time on Thursday this week at Center College. And no surprise, she's going to do that with some help from Grandma and Granddad. Which, by the way, isn't easy, because they're still paying tuition for Grandma, who's working on her bachelor's degree right now. You see that education theme continues. Another value we were taught, the value of community involvement and helping others, was also taught to us by their example. We grew up watching our parents volunteer their time and talent to several schools, the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, Fern Creek Women's Club, Fern Creek Lions Club, a variety of PTAs, junior achievement, the list goes on. Many hours of community service devoted to turkey shoots and auctions and chili suppers, carnivals for muscular dystrophy, we were just talking about those, pancake breakfasts, haunted houses, Christmas parties at the School for the Blind, school fundraisers were and are simply a part of their lives and now our lives. Helping others and being involved in our community is a part of each of our lives today. It's what we do because it's how we were taught. The importance of our family, of being together, supporting each other, sharing our lives is underscored each time our parents led a scout troop or coached a team, attended a school play, school conference with some teachers, went to our graduations, the births of our children, even though some of us insisted on living in some pretty far-flung places through the years. Subsequently, our parents' attendance now at our children's events has continued. Their commitment to and support of family exemplifies the generosity in their hearts and best describes both the kindness and the selflessness